Good morning. This is one of those days where people hear what I do on my day off. They kind of think I'm crazy, but that's okay. We've only got a few weeks left until deer season, and I've got work to do today, and it just so happens to be an all-out downpour and thunderstorm coming through right now. All right, got the first spot done, what I need to do, and soaked is an understatement. Once I got out there, the rain wasn't terrible. I knew I was going to get soaked anyway, but the lightning was kind of scared me a little bit. It got pretty close, and then I looked out in the field and saw on the wood line there was a big giant cedar tree that was broken in half. I don't know if that was from the wind we had the other day when Hurricane Laura came through, or if it got struck by lightning. But either way, it made me be on edge a little bit. But while I'm on that property, this one is the one that's closest to my house. It's the one that I've been hunting the longest around here. The three that are on the top of my list right now, there's a big, just beautiful 8-pointer. He's picture perfect. He's out there just about every day. So far, he's inches wise, he's the biggest deer out there, but he's also the most regular out there. And so that's a deer that I would love to be able to get this year, especially with the bow. But then there's also I think he's a 13-pointer, just real goofy looking. And that's another thing about that property, is that there's always one non-typical deer that's out there, it seems like, around deer season. And then there's a 10-pointer out there. He hasn't been around in the past couple weeks. I bet he shows up once deer season starts. For some reason, they come back. I'll get pictures of them in the summer a little bit, and then the ones I get pictures of in the summer come back at deer season. And then there's also almost always random deer that just show up for deer season. And so those are my top 3 deer for out there: the 8-pointer, the 13, and the 10. And any of those deer, I wouldn't hesitate for a second to take. I'm out here at property number 2. This is actually the woods of my parents' house. They live about 15 minutes away from me. And out here we have a ground blind on the creek bank that's really rolling right now with all this rain. But you've got to cross this little creek here to get to it. And it's always been a challenge trying to cross it in the dark. I'm either coming or going to it. And so I'm going to build a little bridge here today with landscape timbers and 2x4s. And so I'll get to work on that first before we start working on clearing out shooting lanes and checking the feeder and camera and all that stuff. All right, well, here is the second spot that I was working on. This is the other side of the creek. So this is where somewhere I got a feeder. Then I got a trophy rock, and I just put out a Moultrie brand bag this morning. This is a spot that this year there's only one deer on the hit list so far. He came through about a month ago. One Sunday afternoon in the middle of the day, came by, big 10-pointer. Biggest deer I've got on camera so far this year, but he just came by the one time and stopped by for a quick bite, got a couple pictures of him, and then he left. Nothing consistent yet out here. There's does, fawns, and small bucks out here pretty consistently so far. But the thing about this property is once fall rolls around, so far every year that I've hunted out here, this will be my 4th year hunting out here. Every year, the biggest buck that I get pictures of is out here, and the most shooters happens right here on this property. And so it's a great spot. Just got to put the time in and wait for conditions to be right and for everything to work out. All right, well, now I've made it out here where I planted 2 of the food plots last week, and I'm out here by the first spot where the feeder is. And so let's go walk down there and check it. I gotta put some corn in that feeder and do some work on the deer stand. So let's go see what's happened in 1 week after planting. Property number 3 is done. Went out there. The food plots are coming up pretty good. My trophy rock was gone. Probably all this rain finished it off. It was almost gone anyway, so I put just a cheap mineral block out there. From here on out, they won't use the minerals near as much, but it has been a good draw, and there's still been deer coming by to that little mineral lick just about every day, and so I figured I'd give them something to kind of hold them there. This year, since I've been managing the property all summer, there's been quite a few deer out there. Several groups of does that keep coming through, and then does with fawns that are really regular at some of these spots. And then there's really 2 bucks that are at the top of the hit list out there for now. One's an 8-pointer and the other one's a big 6, and they're out there together quite a bit of the time. I mean, for sure every night, a couple times a week in daylight. And so those would be 2 that right now they appear to be killable deer. And so I'm headed back to the place where I started this morning, and I'm gonna hopefully finish up. I know I got to get some food out in the feed trough for these big bucks that I'm after. Well, I guess you're done working for the day when the tornado sirens come out. And so there's a warning in our county. It's not here for us, but at the same time, probably better take precaution and head on home and get cleaned up and get safe.
Republican just about to cross over US 65 just to the north of Greenbrier. So again, this is still moving dangerously close to the Greenbrier area.